Hey guys, this is the 14th video in the Great Spiritual Awakening series. Today we're going to learn about evidence of telepathy. Telepathy is the communication of thoughts and ideas by extrasensory means. Here you can see Ali on the left is aware of Bob's thought. Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, a psychiatrist, neuroscientist, and theoretician, has been studying children who have telepathic abilities. According to Dr. Powell, telepathy has been reported by people from almost every culture and across the millennia. Hundreds of studies on telepathy have shown positive results. These statistical studies aren't taken seriously because their effect size is too small to prove something labeled impossible. Science has remained stuck with this circular reasoning for over a century. What's more, Dr. Powell believes that non-vocal autistic children with savant skills have shown they have telepathic abilities. She states, being incapable of speech from an early age increases their motivation to find an alternative means of communication with their caregivers. But that isn't all. Autism expert Bernard Rimland reported ESP as existing in a small percentage of his patients and considered it to be a savant skill. Additionally, Dr. Powell reports, I have been contacted by dozens of parents and clinicians from around the world, all convinced an autistic child they know can literally read minds. One of the children Dr. Powell studied was a young girl named Haley. When Haley was young, she could answer difficult mathematical questions, so her parents thought that she was a math genius. However, her parents later learned that Haley was actually telepathic, and the reason Haley was able to get the correct answers to the math equations is because she was reading the minds of her parents who knew the answers. Dr. Powell set up a test for Haley. Haley saw two different therapists. Each therapist held papers that contained words and numbers. Though Haley couldn't see the papers, she had to correctly state the words and numbers on the therapist's papers. Multiple cameras were placed in the room where Haley was tested. Also, a rectangular table was placed next to a wall. Haley sat on the chair next to the wall, and a therapist sat right next to Haley. A tall divider was placed between the two chairs so that Haley could not see the therapist and vice versa. However, the divider did not go over the table. The therapist had sentences and equations on her paper, and Haley had to guess the sentences and equations one letter at a time and one number at a time. The therapist had an electronic device containing letters and another electronic device containing numbers. She showed Haley the device, and after Haley touched a letter or number, the therapist moved the device away for a brief period. Then the therapist showed the device again, and Haley touched a letter or number again. This process continued for hours. Haley got some sentences and equations 100% right, but there were also some sentences and equations where she made a few errors. Here's an equation that Haley got 100% correct. 102,792 divided by 180 equals 571.066667. Haley had to guess the first number, she had to guess the operator, which was division, she had to guess the second number, and she had to guess the answer since she's not so good at math. The chances of correctly guessing the first two numbers in the equation are 1 over 10 to the power of 9. It's also worth mentioning that she rounded off her answer to the same number as the answer written on the therapist's paper. What's more, Haley provided her answer within 74 seconds. Interestingly, the therapist asked Haley to think of a number. After, the therapist told Haley to divide the number by 3. Instead, Haley responded by giving the cube root of her number. The therapist looked at the cube root symbol on her own paper and she didn't know what it meant, so she told Haley to divide by 3. But this is not the same thing as finding the cube root of a number. Even though the therapist said the wrong thing, Haley gave the cube root and her answer was 94% correct. She missed a number. This happened twice. How can a little girl who can't speak know what the therapist was thinking? Mind you, Haley gave her answer in seconds, which means the mental communication happened very quickly. It's important to understand that thoughts exist outside of space and time. Here's what I mean by that. Meet Bob. Bob is thinking about an orange. Ali, Bob's friend, is standing next to Bob. Can Ali see Bob's thought with his eyes? No. Can Ali smell Bob's thought with his nose? No. Can Ali taste or feel Bob's thought? No. Can Ali weigh Bob's thought? No. If Allie placed Bob's imaginary orange into a bucket that is full of water, would the bucket overflow? No. You see, Bob's imaginary orange exists outside of space and time. What's more, all thoughts exist outside of space and time. In other words, all thoughts are immaterial. In order to see, smell, and taste a real orange, you must exist within space and time. That is obvious. Similarly, in order to be aware of an imaginary orange, you must exist outside of space and time. In other words, you must be a soul. But this is not as obvious to many people. You see, Haley was able to know what the therapist was thinking because there is a part of us that exists outside of space and time. This part of us is called the soul, and the soul is able to know things that arise outside of space and time. Thoughts arise outside of space and time, so the soul can be aware of one's own thoughts, and sometimes the soul can be aware of other people's thoughts. I believe evidence of telepathy is evidence of the soul. What's the other explanation? Did some particles from the therapist's brain travel over to Haley's brain? No, of course not. There is no good physical explanation as to how Haley was able to know what the therapist was thinking, but there is a good spiritual explanation as to how Haley was able to know what the therapist was thinking. The problem is, many people don't believe in the soul, and whenever you have evidence that indicates the existence of the soul, many people tend to reject all the evidence. This is why so many people fail to have a deeper understanding of themselves. If you want to watch a couple of videos of Haley being tested by the therapist, click on the link in the description. Hey guys, if you're looking for a thought-provoking spiritual book, check out The Great Spiritual Awakening. The link is in the description. And in the next video, we will learn about whether hell exists. Click on the thumbnail to watch the video, and last but not least, have an amazing, wonderful day.